So we were talking about how to manually ingest a file directly from the asset form. So for this example, let's create a new asset, open the new asset form. We can here already select some type that we have, the type that we want to assign to the asset. Since we are still in training, we will use the test asset type. And we use it for an import media. We can set an expected duration of the file, or we can just leave the one frame duration, as after the import, the duration will be updated correctly with reference to the file. So we can go on the annotation tab, and in the media list section, with the right click function, we can use the media file import. With this import, we can pick up a file from anywhere in our system. So for example, I'm receiving a file, and I will just take this as example. I will copy here in our, let's put on our local download folder. We rename as import media. So from here, we are selecting to import our file. Double click on the file, and we will select on which destination we want the file to be imported. So the system will create a copy from the original file that we selected into the destination that we want to use. We can put it on, for example, in our upload folder. Almost all the folder can be reachable from all the system because they are configured with a UNC path, with a shared path. So you can pick up a file from any location, and you can select any destination folder. And we can assign the initial codec that you want to set. If we don't know which is the codec that can be associated to the file, we just select the unknown codec, just because after this operation, the automatic procedure managed by the workflow will update everything. So we imported the file, we have it in the media data tab, and we see that the file has been renamed following the Etere rules that we configured in the system. So every time that we import a media, the file is renamed into the asset code. The workflow already started. We have some the operation of the workflow followed, and it's just okay. We can move it on here. I just applied some modification yesterday, and then we need to skip some processes, but now the workflow will move the file into the general storage and then perform the media info process and update the asset. In some time, we will have everything done. Another way to ingest manually a media, it is by the function that we have similar to the import with the media file link. The main difference between import and link is that when you are linking a file, you need to pick up a media exactly from the location that you want to use. So we are going to create a new asset with code 120. And we are going to give the description as link media. From here, from the media list, I will select the media file link option. And the first windows that I can see is that I'm already selecting, I'm asked to select the source location. So I need to select the logical location where I will link the file. I will select the archive in this case. And when linking, I can select a file only from this location. I can't move from any other location because the system in this case is not going to create a copy of the file. It is just creating a logical link from on the database to the real file existing on the storage. So I can take the file, or I can put another file in here. So I can copy again this import media from the download. I'm putting it as a new file in the archive, and I want to rename it as linked media. So I select the file, double click or click open. And in this case, I want to assign directly a specific codec. So I select the one that I want to use. And the system is not applying any operation on the file in this case. So in the metadata tab, we will see the file name exactly as it was in the original media, because the system is not creating any copy and is not using, in this case, Etere rules to rename the file. We are not creating any new media in any destination, so the link is created exactly as the file is existing in the path. Also, again, the workflow has been started. There is just a wrong operation I set yesterday. I will fix it. So here we have our last two assets, the imported media that has already a MXF file on the archive and its related low-res file. And in few minutes, we will have the same things also for the link media material. We already have on the archive and the low-res. Okay, it is created also the low-res. So you see, the file is exactly the same in those two assets, but the second one has been managed with the original file name, since we use the link procedure. The first one that we imported has been renamed into asset code because we used the import function. This kind of ingest of material in file-based way, it is managed in an automatic way from the application called ActiveSync. We have it installed in this same ingest PC, and we can find it as a service. This is the Etere ActiveSync service. So this service is checking every 10 minutes by default the folder that has been configured to be scanned, and if it finds some new media, it will manage them, so creating new asset if you want to create a new asset for new media, or linking them to the related asset. we have the configuration section of this service in the Etere web interface. You can log in into with our Windows credential. And on the user preferences, we have the active sync. So in this case, we are creating, it is following a loop creation, so a loop check, a looping time for checks based on 10 minutes. And the paths that is currently checking is this one, the active sync folder within our NAS. The configuration can be checked or edited by using the edit function. And we are seeing that in this case, it will link all the files that are matching with an already existing asset using also the codec unknown. Our system is now working ingesting media based on code. It means that as we've seen, when we import manually a file or where we are ingesting also in baseband application, the file that Etere will create will have the name based on the asset code. As we've seen, using the manual import, we imported a media and it has been renamed as the asset code. So in using this same logic, when the service is checking the file within ActiveSync folder, it will first read the file name and search on the database if there is an asset existing with the exact code as the file name. If we open this folder, we can see an actual example. We can take again our source example media. We're going to put it in here and rename as new asset code. With this configuration, with the actual configuration, if the service find a media, so a file name that is not matching with any already existing code in the database, so it is not finding any asset to use to create a link to this file, the file won't be never managed. It will be left in this folder, and the system won't be able to link to any asset. If we enable this option, the create new asset, the system will be able to create a new asset with this exact code and link the file to it. We can just have a test for this moment. We saved the configuration with the new create new asset option, and we can apply and restart the service directly from this configuration, from this section. As soon as the service will manage the file, the media will be moved from here because, again, the automatic workflow will be started on a new asset. I get Here it is. The asset has been created from the ActiveSync service. We have the code named as the media. Also, the title has been set to as the file. And we have the file correctly linked to this new asset. Again, the workflow has been started. Let me already fix this workflow. Otherwise, we need to restart every time manually. I just wrongly connect this output in here. Okay. So let's restart completely the workflow. And it's now not. Okay, still missing the active sync section. Let's fix it immediately and then we keep going. Okay. So the workflow will move also from the active sync folder the file into the archive. This is because we want to keep this folder as much empty as possible. Because every time the system will check the list of all these files existing in this folder and match each one, search for each one, the matching result in the database. So you can imagine that the longer is the list existing on the active sync, the longer will be the time taken to perform all the checks. So in case we find every time an asset, or we create a new asset to link the file, the source file will be moved from here and copied and directly moved into the archive folder. With this procedure, we see how we managed a file that has no existing asset linked. So we can see now instead how the file name must be set if we want to link the file to an already existing asset. So let's update the workflow. It is completely run. We have correct codec and IRS and LORES file available in the system. We create a new asset now, and we want to link from active sync. And we want to the active sync process to link the file directly to this asset that we are creating without creating a new one. So the code in this case we want to have let's call it this way, 122 underscore link. Of course, codes can follow some different rules depending on the way you are receiving media or depending on how you want to define media into the system. The code is a unique code, so on the system can exist only one asset with this code, so it's can be as a unique identification name. And so we can create in the ASTI-sync folder. Let's pick it up, this one. If we want this media to be linked to this asset that we created, we need to rename, or we need to set a name that is matching with the code. So 122 link. So the service is waiting for its 10 minutes time for the loop timing for check. We can again restart the service to force it to immediately check the folder. And it has been linked. We have the media, and we can see that we have the file exactly linked to this asset. It is already moved to the archive folder, so the workflow started and it is running correctly. It is on the archive and it is waiting for the media info process to be run. Let's have an update on here. The media info is going to be executed. And here we have with the codec, and in few seconds we will have also the low-res file, because the action is already already managing the low-res creation. So we have those 4 assets managed in 4 different ways, but the result is always the same. We just performed a manual ingest from the first 2, but as it has been done for all the asset, the automatic procedure managed by the workflow make possible to have same result for each one. All of them as a basic starting point, media linked to the archive and a low-res file created. Also in this search, just let me mention that we can select to see devices icon or codec icons. If I change to the codec view, we will see different icon in the media list. So this is depending on the view that you want to see. In this way, we have codec icon, and we have the device written as archive and low-res. If we change back to the devices icon, we will have icon related to the device and the name related to the codec. This is up to each user. You can change in any way you want. Just to mention this, you can assign later with administrators or IT team. You can assign any different icon to each specific devices. We just left the default icons, but if you click on the edit button, you can change the assigned icon, and you will have a list of default icon that we have in Etere systems, from oldest one to newest one. So it is completely up to your decisions. In the same way, you can change icon assigned to codecs. Most of them already have let's say a functional icon that is reporting the main information related to the codec itself. So also for H.264, we already have an icon with a specific information related to the codec. In this view, instead, we will always have icon of the codec and icon of the LURES. So on the devices. So the media data tab is reporting the whole information related to asset and meta file. From here, you have the media already available for preview, and this form already lets you have some editing in this form. You can start editing EDLs, so each version of this section, only after opening a preview. So you have your file, and now you can start inserting visible segment, keyframe, and so on. As we said, if you work on the high-res file or if you work on the low-res file, it won't change the management of those sections, because everything will be always based on the same time codes, because of course low-res file, it's supposed to be exactly the same as original file, but with just a different bitrate. So it will be easier for the clients or for the PC where you're working on to load the preview on low res instead of high res. So this is all the operation that we can do with file-based ingest. Let's go back to have a look also again to baseband ingest. Let me just tell you that we have a main and backup configuration for the ingest service. We have the main one running on this ingest one workstation, and the backup, it is working on the ingest 3 application. Ingest 3 workstation. It means that if we have a failure on the main one, so on ingest 1, the service running on the other workstation, it is constantly pinging the main one, and it will realize that we have some failure with the main one and will take the place. So it will become main. It will keep doing the same operation that is doing the RTC running in here. Let's go back to baseband ingest. As a recap of all the channels that we can have in the system, we have a total of 32 ingest channel sorry, we have a total of 32 input channel to be used in the whole system. Those channels are split in many, in six, let's say six ingest server. We have 8 ingest input running on the multi-ingest 1 server, and other 8 input channels running on the multi-ingest 2 server. Those 2 servers are managed by ingest services. We have in here an example on 14. So both server will have each one those 8 services, and each service is connected to a specific SDI input. We can see their configuration again on the web section. Again, on user preferences within our login account, we have the ingest, and we have here listed all the services running on the system. And here we have the configuration form for each channel. So we have the first one, for example, that is creating this kind of files in the encoding section, this kind of file from the incoming source. So we are creating an MXF file with a bitrate of 50 mega with this aspect ratio with a specific video size and a specific frame rate. You can see here in the source that we have the channel, the exact channel of the video board correctly set. In here we have the SDI1, and for this, for example, in the second service, we have this SDI2. And we can select them from the list of all the input signal available. They can be both SDI or NDI. If you have some signal from the NDI flow, we can select even to record by NDI. Those services can be managed by the multi-channel ingest client application. So we open it. And from any client, we can connect to a specific server. This one is connecting to the services reported on each Windows, and we have, for example, all those 8 services connecting to the same main server. This the 14, each one with a different port. For those connections, we have also an XML file created on the Etere local folder, like this one, just to show you how. So this is the address of the main server with the port, and we have here with the XML tag all the configuration that we see in the web interface. How we can use it? We can create a new asset from here and ask the system to record the incoming signal to the asset that we are creating, or we can already search for an asset and we can select the asset to start the recording. Let's have a first test with with creation of an asset directly from here. So we put new training rec. The title is automatically copied from the code, but you can even change it. By the way, the file will be following this name. So again, following the code naming as a rule. And we can select also the type of the to assign to the asset, the codec to assign to the file that we are recording, and the cloud device. We know already that we are working with a specific encoding configuration, so we already know which will be the codec that we can assign. By the way, we can even set the unknown codec, because later the workflow that is the same workflow that we've seen for the manual import and for the active sync import will set the proper codec after the workflow execution. I'm afraid that the connection already dropped because I got everything freezed. Even from the remote desktop, I can't do anything more. Let me try to reconnect to the AnyDesk. Wait. Okay. Seems we are back. You can see, yes. So we were creating the asset. We can assign the codec, as we said. We already know which is the codec. Otherwise, we can put the unknown, and the workflow will be managed as usual. And we can set the destination. In this case, we can use the multi-ingest one destination as a default one. You can see that all the form that we used during the week, they automatically loaded the last configuration used. So it is okay to keep everything like this. By the way, you can even select to ingest in any other available destination. We create the asset, and we can move directly to the preview that will be available as soon as we open the service, so as soon as we open the communication with the service. If we start the recording, we will see the counter running. And after we stop the recording, there will be a preview form loaded automatically, so we can have a check of what has been recorded. Yes, as we seen yesterday, it is not possible from this application to manage marks, so to have live editing while we are recording. We can just browse this resulting media. You can see again here the file name is new training rec, so it is following the asset code. We can preview the media, and we can even move frame by frame to have a exact location of the file, and can only set the starting of media and the end of media. So a logical end, start and the end of the media. We can't set additional segment, additional marks within the media. We can do them just using the read the device position for some. So we can write here manually, or we can retrieve from the track bar. So and then we can move, I don't know how many seconds. Okay, we have 11 seconds. Let me put here manually 9 seconds. So we can then write a time code manually and move to that time code using the move the device to this EOM button. Same way we can move to the SOM, to the SOM, using the related button. If everything is okay, we can save these marks in the asset that has been created, and then also confirm the recording. So the asset has been completely saved and the automatic workflow has been started. If we select to discard the operation, the recording, the file recorded will be deleted from the destination folder. And as we've seen during the week, if we left the recording in the preview status, so we recorded the media and then the operator forget to save the recording or to discard. If we close the application, the recording will be automatically saved, but no workflow will be started. So you will have an asset with this recorded file that is not managed automatically from the system. So there will be the way for the operator to know that the asset has a media linked, but it is not automatically managed. So someone will have to manually check what is going on this asset. Or we can search for an existing asset, so we can create a new one from here. From the media library form, we create a new asset and we call it asset for multi. So we want to use this asset on the multi-channel client application. We can close everything. We can search for the asset in here. So I set asset for something like this. Okay, we have this asset. We can see that it is empty. There's no file name and no file path. So we can select the asset, double clicking on it or pressing select asset button. And we have the message in here, no file linked. So yes, so we want to record on this asset. We can go to the preview again. And we are recording, even if it is black right now. Sorry, I did something wrong. Yes, because I recorded over the previous asset. Okay, we need even if we select for the asset in the search, we load the information, basic information on this section, but we need, however, to create. It is not creating in this case an asset. It is creating, it is preparing the system to create a link to the asset that we managed. So now we are using the asset for multi-ingest that we created. And now we are recording on it. So let's repeat again this step because I wrongly explained the correct step to be followed. So we want to use a specific asset to be the container of our recording process. We search for the asset that we want and we select it. Double click and we have the message. No file linked. Okay, yes, we want to use the asset for the recording. Now we prepared the system to use this information from the asset that we selected. So we need to create the process. It is saying that the code already exists, but there's no file. We will add the file that will be available from the SDI source that we are going to use. So again, open the service, open the communication with the service, and in the previous windows, we have the input video available. In this case, file was already existing because I just used that asset for the record, so we have an error. This can be done on all the services available, depending on if they have a signal incoming or not. We've been using always the first one, the first force, sorry, because we have signal on them. We can link recording together, so we can create again 3 different assets, for example, on the service 2, service 3, and service 4 window, and we can create linked one asset, linked 2 asset, linked 3 asset. So we have 3 assets available, 3 recording processes ready to be started. We open communication with each services. And if we enable the option rec linked, we can manage those 3 recording processes in the same time, just using command from one of them. So I can use the second signal, second process, to start the recording on all of them. They are all queued and they are all running in this moment. They are in sync, they are recording different sources, but with the same timing. So I want to stop them. I can stop even from another window different from the source, the starting one. They are all stopped, and each one will load the specific preview. Again, we can do all the same operation in each one. They are independently, so the starting of media that we put in here will be different for each one. If we save, this is now related only to this recording, and the other one will be a different one. And so on. We can confirm all of them or discard only one or all of them. After the recording process, the windows will be unlinked from each one. In a similar way as we did from the service one, we can create new asset also for the linked recording or select asset already existing and available for recording processes. So this is the way we can use the multi-channel ingest. So we are recording from the main ingest server one. In this main server, there is also an additional application that is working again with service, and it is the scheduled ingest broker. This application must be always open, and depending on how many how many services we want to use for the recording, it will show here the windows related to each channel. If we have only one, we have only one Windows. If we want to use all of 8 services also for scheduled ingest, we will see a bigger window with all 8 channels, and each one will be its own list of scheduled ingest processes. This can be managed again in the same web interface. Just assign for each server the channel that we want to use for the ingest scheduled channel. We have it available only for the first one. We can set it also for the second one, for example, and so on. In case you are using both the service for manual ingest and scheduled ingest, you will see on the multi-channel ingest client application a message that the scheduled ingest is going to be used in a specific timing for a specific recording. Let's see if we can easily check this in here. To schedule recording or on a scheduled ingest channel, we have on the Etere ingest application the scheduled ingest section. The first window that we see is showing is a view interface that will show all the scheduling recording that we have configured, so that we have listed. And we can distinguish them between single ingest scheduled or periodical ingest, so they will be performed time by time during the specific period, or a planned scheduled live ingest. In here we have a planning, so we will have tomorrow another new scheduled ingest process on channel 2, or we can create a new one from here. So on the planning tab, we will have we will see all the recording in a easier way, is with let's say helpful way, because we can see the block of each recording during the timeline in the day. So let's test. We can, when we are creating the scheduled ingest recording, we can assign a description of the recording itself. It's not related to file name or asset name. It is just giving a name, a description to the process that we are configuring. In here, we have to assign the asset to be used as a container for the resulting file. We will create a new one again. So right click on the asset results and click new asset. Again, there's no need to set a duration of the asset because it will be taken from the scheduled recording process that we are going to do. And in here, we will set the time when it will start. So let's put in 2 minutes, and a duration, 2-minute duration. And we are going to use the channel 1, as this is the only service, the single service that we are configured. So we have in here now the list updated with the incoming recording, and we have 2 minutes left to start it. So while it is going to be started, you can see that it won't be possible for the multi-channel ingest client to use the same service that is scheduled for the scheduled ingest. In here, let's split the views. Okay, this is recording right now. And we see it that is reported as recording in the multi-channel ingest. So it can be used from the operator for any additional operation on this interface. This scheduled ingest will start automatically at the scheduled time and can be only stopped before the ending time. Otherwise, as soon as it will reach the time to stop, it will be stopped automatically by the system. And it is not possible to perform any additional operation, neither on the EDL. So it is not possible to add any segment, any marks during the recording. We can only check the view meter so we can see if also audio is correctly recognized, so incoming. And we can, if we have an audio device, we can also even listen for the audio. So in 15 seconds, it will be stopped automatically. And we can already check on the application here, from here, on the media library. Searching for latest asset created. Okay, yes. The recording has completed. Yes. So we already have the file linked in the asset. We were recording single process asset. And again, the workflow, the after ingest workflow has been correctly started. So it is doing the same operation as usual. We have then, and we've been talking about the multi-channel ingest, so the recording managed by services. And we have 4 additional client for ingest, and each one can be record up to 4 manual SDI input. The way that we have to use them is using this Etere ingest application. And using these exact easy ingest or multifunction ingest modules. The difference between them is that easy ingest can be used with only a specific configured SDI input, while multifunction ingest allows the user to pick up which SDI input to use. Let's have a look directly to the multifunction ingest module. When opening it, it will prompt the asset search. We are going to create also for this part a new asset, manual multifunction ingest asset. We double click on it to load the recording form. So, as I said, the user now can pick up one of the SDI channel configured. Those are completely not linked to the services that we've seen. Those are depending on the incoming signal for the local PC, local workstation. We select the channel 1 and drag and drop into the destination form. We have a preview automatically loaded. So now we can set the duration, so the expected end of the media. We will run for 2 minutes. The duration will be automatically calculated, so we can start recording. Again, it will create a file name based on the code. And in this case, while we are recording, we can add keyframe or visible segment or segment for editing. So right click on this section. This is the EDL1 from the media library. And we want to start adding a visible segment. So The starting point is this one, using the same button as usual. Mm. I will just stop myself because I see that everyone left from the session. Can you hear me? Are you still there?
Well,
Okay, you are back. Can you hear me?
yes,
Okay, okay. Okay, so I keep going. Sorry, I've seen everyone left from the meeting, so I thought it was not useful to keep going. So we back to where we were. In here, we see that we can set EDL, so set marks while we are recording. And when the recording is stopped, we see that the preview form is automatically loaded using the channel 5. So if we have an SDI from the output channel going into a monitor or to the router. We can even see this preview in an external monitor. We can play it. Also in here, where with the remote desktop connection is not easy to show, but we can move also frame by frame. You see the frame here moving. Also the window, the preview media is moving frame by frame. Or we can move to the marks that we put. And we can also keep modifying the EDL. So we can add another one moving the track bar from here, for example, and we can add a new visible segment. So we can edit while we are recording and after the recording. And the button will be always the same, so we can read the device position to set the mark in and mark out, or move to the marks that we put. We can assign a quality already for the media that we recorded, because we are seeing on the preview that the file is okay, so we can assign already a excellent quality, for example. And when we close the form, so we want to move to a new rec, to a new recording, we are asked to confirm the ingest operation. If we click yes, the media will be saved on the asset and the after ingest workflow will be started. Otherwise, if we discard the operation, so we select no, the file will be deleted and the asset will be ready to be used for a new recording. You see now you have the media linked to the asset. The easy ingest, so as I said, it is allowing to do almost the same operation, but you are going to use only a specific input channel pre-configured on the ingest application, on the ingest settings. So let me create again a new asset just for the easy ingest. Double click on the asset that we want to use, and now you see we are not we don't have the chance to select the input channel. It is loading the preview from the single specific channel configured, and again setting here the duration of the file of the recording. We can start recording it. You have the counter, of course, that is reporting the timing of the recording, and we can start adding some marks in this section. This is again the exact same section of EDL that we see in the multifunction ingest. So it is referring again to the EDL1 version. And in this case, we want to add insertion keyframe. So we just need to set a marking point during the recording. It will take the exact point, the exact time code that is running when we decide to add something. We can stop the recording before the duration we put. The duration will then automatically loaded. And also the preview will be loaded automatically to the single specific channel that we configured as a preview. In the same way we did on the multifunction ingest, we can start the preview. If the SDI output is connected to a monitor, we can have it on external monitor. We can move again frame by frame, or we can have fast forward or fast backward preview, and we can keep adding keyframe on the EDL. So again, when we close the form, we are asked to confirm or discard the operation. So we confirm and we have everything saved and all the workflow starting on the asset. So let me suggest to have a 10-minute break. So we will see back here in 10 minutes to have a recap on the Nunzio playout, on the news playout. Okay? Here I am, sorry, just take a little bit longer.
Okay.
Okay, just preparing few things and then we can start for the Nunzio Playout session. Okay, so we are ready. We have for the news playout two different playout server, a main one and a backup one. It means that in case of failure from the main server, you will have an automatic procedure for that will switch the command to the backup player, to the clone player, and to ensure the broadcast environment. You will not lose anything during the broadcast process. The application that we are going to use for the playout is called Etere Player, and it must be starting on both player. We have on playout one main, the main one, and playout one B, the backup, so the one that we call clone. The first one that is started will have the master mode, and the second one that will connect to the environment will be the clone. So as soon as the application starts, you see they try to connect each other, and as soon they establish a connection, the first one will be a master, and the second one will be clone, with the status clone. We can switch manually the status between them anytime we want using the switch master clone button. So now the clone has become master, and now we have all the button available to command the playout. And if we switch back to the original status, we lost all the button because communication must be sent only from the main, from the master one, and this is again clone. Need to mention that we can't remotely control those playout servers, so we need to open the application on the server where we have installed the output board, and there is no remote control, so we need to access to the server by remote desktop or by TeamViewer, for example, or any other remote access software like VNC, for example, also. This configuration following base configuration reported by customer, we have two primary channel that is called AB. So we will have in here on the on-air section the whole list of all the stories, of all the video content related to stories, and each content will be played from a specific channel. So the first one will be played from the primary A channel. The following one will be loaded and then played on the primary B channel. So they will skip each other the next content to be played. Let's go again to the master so we have all the list of control. So operator will be able to load the story and start the playout of the media. So playout next story will ask the system to load the content for the story, and then the playout next will start playing the first content of the media. In case we have a secondary output, a manual secondary output, there will be an additional button available to start manually the secondary output. This playout server can be managed as can be referred to this playout as a MOS device. So it is controlled based on the MOS protocol. Everything is managed by a service that is called, that we installed in the SQL server. So we are sure, since the SQL server is for sure the server that can't be never stopped. So we have a service that will be always available in this section, in this server, and it is called Etere Nuncio NCS server. So this is managing all the communication between all the MOS devices using the MOS protocol. It is keeping updated all the devices with the changes and the modification that newsroom, so the journalist and operator that are creating news, are applying on rundowns and on story. Let's see actually how we can manage the playout having a rundown created by a user. So from this same server, we are using this one as a reference for the Nuncio client. So you have up to 4 workstation where you can have this Nuncio, 5 workstation where you have this Nuncio application available, but you can even install it in more application because it is just a client. And we can create here our rundown and stories. I'm not going to talk much about configuration of devices and other object that can be managed by the MOS because it is not really needed from a operator point of view. So you are not really interested in it. Once configured all the devices, you just need to know that everything will be managed automatically by the NCS service running on the SQL server. So let's start creating a rundown and put it on air for the actual training. In the edit section, when we are creating news rundown, we can select to create a new story or the template that can be used for future creation. For example, we create a rundown and we can base the structure of the rundown on a template that we already created. For example, I created a template for politics in news. So I can assign it to the day of today. And the name of the rundown that I'm creating is politics. I will change the template basic name, template for 5 for today. It is the template, it is scheduled to be used at 12. We can change and we can assign for just for this moment to 4 in the afternoon, and we'll have a duration of 30 minutes. So we are creating our real rundown based on a pre-configured template. So you can see that we already have a rundown composed by 3 different segments. We are going to add, to insert a story on each placeholder. So we know that, for example, on latest news, we may need to have 2 different stories. Let's search for story that I know I created yesterday and that are available. Okay, let's use the latest news story for this first part. And we have already see that we have already media content added to the stories. And then let's create a new story in here. We can again insert story and we can create it from the edit function again, new story. So I want to create a new latest news story 2. And I can assign already to a journalist or to approver. In here we have at the list of all the users that have been assigned with a specific role in Etere rights. I set all the user for the Nuncio client as journalist, anchorman, approver, and redactor. Then it can be changed manually whenever we want based on the real needs of the customer or operator. So let's put an approver for the operator user web also. So we can use this application also on another server. We can assign this to the user of the other server. So now I'm creating a new story and there will be the section of the story that I can modify. This is the title of the story. And different style on the story will mean different, will have different meaning. So the style reported as hidden style, it is reporting the title of the story. Then we can write the sub header of the story that will be with subheading style. So will be the same color with more littler font. And then we can set the style of the actual text that anchorman will read. We can just, I will just put like this to show you also that there will be a duration automatically count for the timing that the anchorman will need to read this part. So in this moment, we will need 18 seconds to read all this text based on the speeding read configured for the anchorman. And then we can add also all this text. You see now that I doubled the text, the timing has been doubled again. But if I want this to be managed only for the prompter, so as an object to be sent on to the prompter, I can use the comment style, and then it is in red, and it is not anymore managed for the entire duration of the talk duration. You can see also here reported you have word, the number of words, talk duration, and the duration of everything. In here we can add some media, some content. We can add them by using the video search. So we can search for any video already available in the system. So for any asset with a video ingested, we are going to search for last inserted asset. So we can use the file that we recorded by the ingest training. This is the same filter that we have in the media library form. So let's use, for example, the link from ActiveSync, drag and drop in here. And let's put also the easy ingest recording. Now you see that here we have different colored bars. We have a whole duration that is now moved into 1 minute and 50, while the talk duration is 18 seconds. So you have all the references with colors. The white bars is referring to the text. The green one is referring to the video duration with the green mark, and the yellow one will have this bar related. So this is our example of story. We are having two media, two contents of the story. So we can save it. And we can already add it on our rundown. We can search for story available. just remove the filter, the creation filter, so we can see the story that we created today. That is, let's search for the name, latest news. We have this one, and we can put it in here. We can remove or keep the placeholder. We can even delete because we already assigned some story to those placeholder. And then in here, we can add the same story that we used yesterday for the sport, for example, or even if we are not really using information related for politics, just to have this test. So we have our rundown prepared, available. It is the story that we created is still not ready because the user web, the approver, must approve the story. So let's easily open the application from the user web 1 interface. So from here, we can go to stories, for example, assigned to the approver. We have latest story news. We can open it. We use the edit function. Okay, it is telling me that it is already in use from another user, but we can lock it from the other user. And now I'm able to set the ready status. So I am the approver. So for me, the story is okay and can be used on the rundown. If we go back to the rundown in here, the status has been changed. Now the story is ready. We can now assign a control room to this rundown. Each player is configured to play rundown only for a specific studio. In this case, we have Studio 1 to be used with player 1. And now that I'm going to enable the mouse control on this rundown, I'm telling the system to send all the needed information to all our devices. We see that there is a correct connection with the SQL, the NCS server, but yes, we are still having mouse error with prompter because, again, I'm telling that we put fake IPs since prompter are actually in use in the production system. So we just put their existing resource in the configuration, but with a fake IP. So we will never correctly connect to these devices for the moment. So now we have the rundown available in the playout. Operator so can select the story that needs to be played. In this case, we have only one rundown because we put actives only one rundown. And in here, we have the references for the scheduled timing. but we can even play whenever we want. So we load, then we put on air. Sorry. We need to first go on air, and then we are asking the system to load this first story. So we can see here on the primary A, there will be the first story to be played. We need to load the next story, so the first story. And we can now start playing it. So the latest new story will be the one that will be played, and it will start with the first one. The next video of the story will be played on the primary B. You have all the references reported on the description on the preview. And when the player of this primary A will end, it will wait for the operator to play out next, so to go to the next media, to the next content. We have the shortcut also available, so if we press F4 will be the same as clicking on it. And we are playing now the latest news, second part of the test recording asset. So we are in here. What you see in here, you have also some additional buttons related for each specific player. And what you press in this preview will be reflected, of course, on the broadcasted signal. So you will have, if you pause it, it will be paused also in the output. And if the router is still switched to broadcast this part, you will have the pause on air. So all the commands must be managed with reason, and must be also in sync with the router operator. In Etere, we don't have the way in this interface to control also the router. This must be done in a different manual way. We can also set the loop on both players. So it means that when the media reaches the end, it will start playing it again. We can even skip to the next content, even if we are playing the content on another player, because we see that the other primary channel has been already queued for the following one. So we can we can play out next, and the primary B has been stopped, and we are playing the following media on the primary. You see now that we have the smiling face, so it is reporting that the content for this story has been all played. We can skip to the story directly, so pressing the next story, we are seeing that we are asking to the system to load the following story. We were here, and it has been pressed the next story button, so it is putting in the playout list as next event the first content of the following story. Here in the playlist we have a row for each content existing on the story. Each lines are referring to a media. If we have a rundown, for example, a story, and it is the following one, this one. Look at this gossip story. We have two content called third and second in two different lines. If I open the story from here. The gossip story. And I modify it to ask that the second one will be automatic played as soon as the previous one is completed. So it is changing also the icon assigned to the media. Now the approver must approve the story again because I changed. We are in here, we can open the gossip story. I set it as ready, I save it. Now it is ready to be played. Everything will be already loaded to the player, to the playout. So going back to the playout. I just press refresh as a default operation, but it was already loaded in this way. You see that the gossip story has not anymore two lines for the event, but has only one reporting both content. It means that when we are going to play it, we will have both of them played only on the same channel, on the same primary channel. Let's go directly to the next story. So play out next story now. I just pause it to explain this, that in here you will have the details of the story that is played by this primary B. And you have this on-air signal, the on-air message that it means we are on air with this primary. And it is playing the first content out of two that are composing the line. We keep playing it and as soon as the content ends, we will see here that we are going to play the second content of the story. And here we are. So we are playing the following media, the following content. If we want to put the loop, then it will be played again and again until we stop the loop. Using the previous story button, we can ask the system to load again the previous story as next content to be played. So if we press play out next, we are playing again the story sport that we played before. We are on air with this. You see that this one is still playing because there was a loop, and this because we just moved to another story while we were playing. So they keep playing both together, but they are not on air. So in this case, since we skipped to another story before the content was ended correctly as expected, the player, however, keep playing it. So the router operator can switch again to both channel if needed. So we want to go back again to the previous story again. So now the primary B is displaying the content from the first story. And so on. We can move between story in this way or keep playing the story. Since we were talking also about ingest processes, we can see as a last topic in here how we can ingest media directly from the Nuncio interface. So we want to create a new story. So again, we can set all the text that we want, but this is important just to see the import process. And you can add the text as you want, and you can then import any media by drag and drop from any location in the system. We seen during the week that we were importing from the desktop of a user. Now we can have also a test importing it from directly another location in the NAS, for example. Just as a test purpose, I will copy a file from the archive from an external part of the NAS. Let's use this one. No, this is too big. This one. Let me see if I can put it here. Okay, we have this file out from any location configured in Etere, because in Etere we have only those folder configured with cloud devices, with logical devices. So I want to have this imported into our system. I drag and drop it from the NAS into our story. The system is creating a copy from this NAS folder into the archive, directly into the archive folder. And it has been renamed, as you see. It is not 119 anymore, but it is 138 because it is referring to the ingest rule that we've seen till now. I'm opening the asset that has been created automatically with the import process. This is not the asset, it is 138, which has been created. $134. So let's open 134. Don't know why it is taking so long to load, but I assume because this workstation is not using as default connection the same LAN that we are using for the system, because it is connected to the external also internet. So we are having some bottleneck in this case. Let me see if we can open from here. Don't even have the application in here. You can open from here. Okay, here it's quite faster. So we were saying 134. So just to let you see that the file has been imported into the archive and has been already created a low-res file for the file that we imported from the NAS. And in the description, it is reporting just the information. It has been imported from Nunzio. This is the title. And it was referred to original source as 119 MXF. So we have also in the media data, in the operation tab, that has been created by the Etere story creator from Nunzio. So now we have it on our story. Is in here. So we can add this new story in our rundown. And we can search for this one. It's not saved yet from here. I hope it is not much confusing, this jump from a server to another. So we have it in here. We can have the review of the media. And then we can add it on the rundown itself, so available for the playout without having any additional operation. So do you have any question at this step, at this moment? So we covered again all the recap for the whole topics. So if you want, we can go deeper into some details if you still have some question after this session.
Paolo, Paolo,
I'm here. I'm here.
yeah. Every story if we add, do we need to do we need to get the approval? Do we need to get the approval for the every story? Whatever we add, do we need to do the approval for the that story, edit story?
No, well, it is not really needed. It is an additional way to make sure that everything is going fine. If you have some roles as approver or redactor that can have a double check on the stories, then you can approve the story or not. By the way, if the story will be played even if it is not approved. So it is just a way to make sure that all the steps from the creation of the story till the broadcast moment are performed and everything is double checked. But it is not a mandatory step. So for example, in here, you will have just a reference, a video reference, visual reference that the story is not approved. So it means that has been created and but not checked, not did not pass, let's say, a quality check step, but it will be processed, played as well if it is set on the active rundown. This is based on how you are managing your work with your staff. We are with our basic configuration with all installation, we assume that all the customers side has staff for journalists, so for the person that are creating, writing the news, the staff group related to Anchorman, so uh, real operator that are reading all the news in the live channel. Then we have redactors and approvers that they can be mostly also the same person, as the redactor is creating and giving the structure of the rundown and the order of stories within the rundown. And maybe he can also approve, so check the stories that has been created.
Hello.
Yes.
Hello. How about the live editing? Can we see the preview in the live editing?
The preview in the live editing. So you
Yes.
mean the in and you have a lot of way to have a preview. Let's see. For example, let's go back to the Ingest server, Ingest workstation. So you have many different ways to have the preview. One of them is from here. So opening the preview on the asset form. Let's open the recording that we tested before. Okay, so in the annotation tab, you can have the preview. This is called annotation just because you can start having adding marks on the EDL. So you can work both on high-res and low-res version of the file. And we can have a local preview in this interface. So the track bar in here, you can see it is already moved to 4 seconds and 9 frame, just because when we performed the recording, before saving, we set that the logical start of the content should have been at 4 seconds in here. So we already knew that during the recording, there was a black, for example, video from the 0 till now. And now in the preview, if you move before this logical start, you just have a visual effect in the counter that is in red. So reporting that you are previewing something that has been set already out from logical marks. But we can fix it, we can change it by just using always the related button on the field. So you can set now that the start of media, it is at 0.27 frames. So going when we save, this will be the new information related to the asset. We need to reload the player, and it is now moved automatically to 27 frame. Then the player will behave as before. From now that we loaded the preview, you can start editing, you start adding segments. So keyframe, black segments. So it means that Playout will not play the segment marked as black, as video fault, or you can add visible segments. You can have different version of the EDL. So the basic one, the default one is the first. You can add here a segment using the buttons for retrieving marks from the track bar. Like this, and we'll add another one like this, and like this. So once saved, we need to open again the preview, and then we have for this EDL a specific duration. The physical file, the whole physical file is lasting 22 seconds in here in the physical duration field. But with the marks that we put here and with the marks that we added in the EDL1, the actual duration of the media that will be played is 9 seconds. That is duration calculated by start of media, all the segment visible in here, and end of media. Each EDL will have a different duration based on the segment or on the black segment that we put in here. This is an empty EDL, so the duration in here is calculated just based on the logical start and logical end of the general content. This one instead is the logical general starting time, and then we'll add also all the marks on the segments. You can work on the high-res or low-res file. It is not a difference. In a Etere system, it will just consume less resources if you use the low-res file. It will have a faster loading time, and it will be for the PC that you are working on, it will be easier to load the low-res file, of course. From here also you can move, you can have a fast forward preview, or you can have a frame by frame preview. In remote desktop it is really difficult to show you the preview of a file, but you can have also this frame by frame button in here, step +1 and step -1. It is moving frame by frame. Or you can go to the start of the end of the file, physical start or logical start. This is going to the physical start. It is red, as we said, because it is out of logical start. If we move to the logical start, it will move on the start of media here. Do you have any specific question about this editing on the preview?
They want real life editing. Can see the preview. You understand?
While you are recording, you want to see the preview of what you edited while recording?
Live editing.
From here. Give me 1 minute to double check this question.
Okay.
Please hold on. Thank you. Okay, so I think that this is what you were asking for. Why will the live editing? So we can set an asset with the property as streaming. So it means that we start recording the file, and after 10 seconds, the media will be available in the preview form to be played. So you can start already having a preview of the file that is growing while recording. And you can start adding some segment and whatever. So I assume this is the final answer of what you were asking for with the live editing.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, okay. So this is not depending actually on the application. So you can keep recording with the multi-channel ingest client or the old ingest application or the scheduled ingest. It is not depending on the application that you are using. It is depending on the option of the asset that you are using as a container. We can stop this this recording. So if the asset that we are using as a container has this streaming option enabled, operator can start previewing the file from any different location in the system. Of course, it just needs that the client that the operator is using can reach the file that is recorded. And so you can start having the preview of the file and having its EDL to be added. Now with the remote desktop, if I start the play, we are creating a little mess in here. Okay, with the preview enabled during the remote desktop and AnyDesk, we have a lot of lag. Okay, I stopped the preview. So the editing will be exactly the same as we've seen. So you are using this always the same section in here, and you will have all the version available. The difference is only that the asset must be set as streaming when you are creating a new asset to be used for the recording. Okay?
Yes, okay.
So yes, to answer also the final answer to your question from yesterday, this is the proper way to have the live ingest editing. I'm sorry to say that I just did not understood the request yesterday. Then finally today I realized how you can have it in the system. So if you don't have any additional question for today, we are done, and we can continue, of course, next week with the same timing. On Monday, we can start again at your 1 p.m. time.
Yes.
And tomorrow we can complete all the needed configuration that we discussed. Hope that everything is clear till now. For any, let me suggest that if you have any further question, you can prepare them, so you can write them to me by email or by Skype chat. Then we will have some further discussion on Monday to provide you all the answer that you are searching for.
Okay, sure.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Paolo.
Bye-bye.
More than. Bye-bye.
Again, a lot of you.
Yes, a lot.
Yes. I hope it has been an interesting session.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you all.
Nice to meet you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.